The geopolitical landscape in 2025 has just shifted dramatically, and the world is still reeling from the aftermath. In the last week, the unthinkable happened. Russia struck America where it hurts the most. With tensions already at an all-time high, the Kremlin, under the strategic guidance of Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, launched a series of highly sophisticated cyberattacks and economic sanctions that have left the United States reeling, scrambling to recover. Consequences of these strikes will not only resonate for years to come, but will likely alter the global balance of power for good. Up until now, the United States, under former President Donald Trump, had long believed that its dominance in military technology, economic prowess, and global alliances would act as an impenetrable shield. After all, America was the superpower of the modern world, with an unrivaled military, a robust economy, and influence that stretched across continents. But what Russia showed in the past week was that even the mightiest can be vulnerable in ways that are far more sophisticated and subtle than anyone could have imagined. The first strike came not with bombs or missiles, but with the precision of a cyber attack, silent, invisible, and incredibly destructive. It all started in the dead of night, when key sectors of the American infrastructure were hit. Power grids went dark across major U.S. cities. Financial systems went offline, sending shockwaves through the global stock markets. Communications between major federal agencies were abruptly severed. For the average American, it felt like a regular evening, but behind the scenes, the country's heart was being torn apart. The truth was, the U.S. was under attack, and it had no idea how to defend itself. This wasn't your typical hacking operation. No, this was a state-sponsored assault carried out by Russia's most advanced cyber warfare units. These weren't just rogue actors looking to steal data or cause chaos. These were highly targeted strikes aimed at crippling the backbone of American infrastructure. From the energy grid to banking systems, these cyber operatives had one goal: paralyze the United States in its own tracks. The attack was calculated, precise, and incredibly effective. Within hours, the markets plunged into chaos, and American businesses were left in shambles, unable to recover their operations. As if that wasn't enough, Russia's hackers infiltrated government defense networks, leaving sensitive military data vulnerable and sowing distrust within the U.S. military and intelligence agencies. But the cyber attacks weren't just meant to cause immediate chaos. They were the first part of a broader, more strategic plan. Russia's economic move came swiftly on the heels of the digital assault. Leveraging its control over critical oil and gas pipelines, Moscow made a bold move. It reduced its energy exports to the United States, effectively tightening the noose around the American economy. This was no coincidence. Russia understood how dependent the U.S. was on foreign energy, particularly in the wake of growing environmental regulations at home. The immediate effects were profound. Energy prices skyrocketed, sending shockwaves through the entire American economy. Gas prices at the pump surged, utility bills skyrocketed, and consumer confidence began to plummet. Companies, already battered from years of pandemic recovery and supply chain disruptions, now found themselves crippled by the rising cost of energy. Manufacturers, farmers, and tech giants alike struggled to absorb the costs, and many faced bankruptcy. But it wasn't just the energy market that took the brunt of the damage. Inflation shot up, eroding purchasing power for the average American citizen. The economic ripple effect of Russia's moves was immediate and catastrophic. In Washington, the situation was one of shock and confusion. The Trump administration, already grappling with internal political divides and a highly polarized country, found itself caught off guard. The president's usual approach to foreign threats, often focused on military strength and diplomatic posturing, ill-equipped for such an unconventional attack. Calls for retaliation grew louder from hawkish elements within the government, while others urged caution. With America's economic machinery grinding to a halt and a population growing restless, the administration was faced with a difficult decision: how to respond without escalating the situation into a full-blown war with Russia, a nuclear power? And just when the U.S. thought things couldn't get worse, another player entered the game. China, America's largest trading partner and one of its most formidable competitors, watched the crisis unfold with keen interest. Beijing saw an opportunity to not only protect its interests, but to solidify its position as a dominant force in the global order. China, under President Xi Jinping, wasted no time in capitalizing on the unfolding chaos. As American businesses buckled under the pressure of skyrocketing energy costs, China quietly strengthened its economic and military alliances across the Pacific. Meanwhile, Chinese state media began broadcasting messages of support for Russia's actions, positioning themselves as part of a new geopolitical alliance. This wasn't just opportunism, it was a calculated move. With the U.S. distracted and weakened, China made bold moves to expand its influence in the South China Sea, signing new trade deals with nations across Africa and Asia, and positioning itself as the leader of a new, multipolar world. By the time America could even begin to respond, China had already strengthened its ties with Russia, creating a powerful axis that threatened to overshadow any hope of American dominance. What we are witnessing today is the dawn of a new world order, and it's one in which America may no longer be the dominant player. The world is shifting away from the unipolar dominance the U.S. has enjoyed for decades. Moscow's cyber and economic strikes against America are not just a series of attacks. They are a calculated strike against the very concept of American hegemony. Russia, along with its new partner China, is reshaping the global map in ways that challenge everything the U.S. has long stood for. The days of American exceptionalism and unquestioned influence on the global stage are coming to an end. So, what does this mean for America's future? How will the United States respond to this unprecedented assault on its infrastructure, economy, and global standing? Will Trump, who once prided himself on his unpredictable, no-holds-barred approach to leadership, be able to rally the nation to face this challenge? Or will the U.S. be forced to shift its entire foreign policy strategy, conceding its place in the global hierarchy to Russia and China? The options are not simple. A military response risks escalating tensions with Russia and China, potentially triggering a catastrophic global conflict. Diplomatic talks, while necessary, may prove futile in the face of a growing alliance between the two powers. And meanwhile, American citizens, already exhausted from years of political and economic instability, are wondering whether their government is even capable of addressing the crises on its own soil. As we stand on the brink of a new era in global politics, the reality is clear. America's global leadership is no longer guaranteed. The combination of Russia's cyber warfare, economic strikes, and China's opportunistic moves has shifted the global power dynamic in ways we are only beginning to understand. This is not just about two rival nations trying to flex their muscle. It's about the very future of global governance. Now, more than ever, the world must grapple with a reality where multiple superpowers hold the keys to the future. Will America rise to the occasion, or will it find itself pushed into the background as Russia and China forge a new global order? What do you think? Will the United States recover from this unprecedented blow, or is the world on the verge of a new, more dangerous era of geopolitical conflict?